Hey friends, welcome back. Today, we're doing something a little different. We're making a simple accord. This formula I found online in an IFF patent. It's for a Rose Otto and a Rose Otto replacer. And an Otto is just another word for oil, rose oil. If you don't know, rose oil, Rose Otto, smells different than Rose Absolute. Just like patchouli oil smells different than patchouli absolute. So there is a difference. This is a simple formula, very straightforward. And believe it or not, it has been a while since I have put together a formal rose accord. Now today, what we are putting together is only 5 grams at a 10% concentrate, a 10% dilution. So this, if it smells good, I could use as an actual replacer in my test batches when I'm using my rose oil 10%. So I'm excited to see how this goes. All of the materials are pretty common, save for a couple. And I will point out when I think maybe one isn't needed. I think the important ones, there are some important ones, but there are some you can probably get away with. In any case, I would encourage you to put this together whether you have all the materials or not, just to have fun with it. So let's get started. Now, like a good rose accord, we have a lot of citronellol. We're going to do this in order by weight. So citronellol, classic, clean, zingy rose. We have 1.5 grams at 10%. I would hope that if you are a beginner perfumer, maybe you're just starting to build your organ, that you have citronellol. Get yourself some citronellol. Okay, next we have geraniol. Now geraniol is a lot like citronellol. It has a touch more of a sharp green aspect to it on the one side. On the other side, to my nose, it's not as high pitched, it's a little lower toned, but still it has that zingy, clean freshness and a super rosy vibe to it. We have 1.25 grams at 10%. Now, interestingly, the formula called for dipropylene glycol. So I put dipropylene glycol, I treated it like it was a formula constituent. I even made a 10% dilution of dipropylene glycol. There is 0.6 grams of dipropylene glycol at a 10% concentration. In other words, 0.06 grams of dipropylene glycol, 0.54 grams of ethanol that was already in the bottle when we got started. Next up and last up before we do our first dip, phenyl ethyl alcohol. Okay, and we've got 0.5 grams at 10%. This is not zingy, not fresh, or not clean, I mean. This is rich, soft, full, still rosy, but rosy of a different nature. Okay. Let's give this just a little, come on, give this a little shake, and we'll do our first dip. We're going to do a lot of dipping here. I want to smell how everything affects our accord. Okay. So citronellol, geraniol, and phenyl ethyl alcohol. Number 1, we'll put it right up top. So the first new addition. First of all, interestingly, if we're thinking in terms of parts, like if we just want to have an easy way to remember what's the ratio of citronellol, geraniol, phenyl ethyl alcohol. We essentially have 3 parts citronellol, 2.5 parts geraniol. For ease, just say 2 parts geraniol, 1 part phenyl ethyl alcohol. 3 parts citronellol, 2 parts geraniol, 1 part phenyl ethyl alcohol. Now, I know it's not exactly 2 parts geraniol, but just to make it easy, just make it easy. 3, 2, 1. Let's do our Geranyl Acetate. This is like geraniol, but it's got the acetate group on it, so it thickens it up. Ooh, need to make more. It sweetens it up, darkens it a little bit. 0.25 grams. I'm questioning if I actually want to dip after every single time. But yes, I do. Blend that. Okay. We'll dip our Geranyl Acetate. Now the next one is interesting. It is Citronellol or Citronellyl Formate. And what's interesting about this is that the formate group really changes the citronellol group. It's floral and it's rosy, but it's like citrusy. It's crazy. It's very interesting. It's dry, it's citrusy, it's citrus peel, but with a rose nature to it. It's a very interesting material. This, I would imagine, will help brighten it up, liven it up a little bit. We have 0.2 grams at 10%. Okay. Let's give that a little mix with my dirty pipette because it'll be okay. Okay. Dip. And, man, I don't think I want to write all of this stuff every single time. There's got to be a better way. There's got to be a better way. Next up, let's do our Linalool. Now, not much Linalool, only 0.15 grams. And it has the same spirit as Citronellol and Geraniol, but its quality is lighter, definitely lighter, more playful, a little bit brighter, less rosy, almost a more generic floral. Still clean though, still clean, metallic. Yeah, it's a good one. Linalool. We'll shake, and I think what I'm going to do from here on out, I'm just going to put these strips right underneath the bottle of the ingredient that I have just recently added, so we can move along nice and quickly. So put that there. Yeah. Next up, Hydroxycitronellal. Now, I need to do more testing with Hydroxycitronellal because when you smell it out of the bottle, it's a lot like Lilial or Liral. It's bright. It's clear. By bright, I mean it's up here. It's not like a bass note. It's up here. It's in the air, but it is airy. I like how Aaron Terrence Hughes says it's light and airy. It's a perfect way to put this. It is. It's light and airy. But interestingly, sometimes I get this into blends, and it adds a sharp metallic shift. It gives a metallic shift in the formula. And I haven't figured out yet because I haven't dove in. I haven't studied this to death yet. But I don't know if it's a dosage thing or if it's simply a materials pairing thing. But I have noticed that. So anyway, 0.1 grams at 10% of our hydroxycitronellal. Don't mistake this aldehyde for the alcohol, hydroxycitronellal. That does exist. It's richer, deeper, more floral. It's not as light and airy as hydroxycitronellal. Next up, we have Terpineol Alpha, and this is an interesting material because it's woody, it's floral, it's also airy. it's lifting, it's almost transparent. There's something there. It's got a little lilac vibe. It's a weird material, but it's wonderful. And we have the same amount, 0.1 grams at 10%. I don't know, I overdosed it. And I'm going to overdose it more because I'm going to use this pipette because, you know, it's okay. It's okay. Now, if this was Eugenol or Safranal or something like that, I might be a little more concerned. But with Terpineol Alpha, I'm not concerned. All right, let's dip our Terpineol Alpha. I don't even know if I'm going to be able to smell what that does. Now, one risk I do of dipping so much is that this could fill the air and kind of ruin my nose. Especially when I get to the Phenylacetic acid, which is a very rich honeyed note. Next up, Damascenone. Yes, Damascenone. Oh, I have to clean this lid like I did my Vertofix. We have 0.05 grams at 10%. So from here on out, we have just only a few drops here or there. Now, Damascenone is very fruity, and it's quite strong. So I'm going to see if I can get a partial drop here. Yeah, perfect. Perfect. But Damascenone's quite strong, very fruity, a dark fruit, a dark and rich fruit. And that's going to help give a little more richness and body to the rose. Of course, give it a fruity aspect, but because it smells like fruit. So if you add a fruity note, you're probably going to get more fruit smell. You know, I'm just saying. Next up, ethyl phenyl acetate. Now, I've got ethyl phenyl acetate and phenyl ethyl acetate, and believe it or not, those are different molecules. What happened? Oh, that was so close. I grabbed a dirty pipette and I got it on my finger, got it on my thumb, but I almost squirted the juice into my bottle here, my amber bottle. I'm glad I did not do that. All right, ethyl phenyl acetate. We have 0.05 grams, not much. This is light. It's floral. It's a touch honeyed. A touch honeyed. Something about the ethyl group on the phenyl acetate. Because phenyl acetate, to my nose, is just very honey. Floral honey. Sweet, dense, rich honey. The ethyl group, just like ethyl vanillin, ethyl maltol. I know there's other ethyl materials. It just makes it a little more lively, a little more lighthearted, is the way that I put it. Because it does lighten it up. It lifts it up a little bit. So it's like you have this honeyed floral note, but kind of on the playful side. Next up, we have Guaiacwood. Now, you know what? I'm doing this in alphabetical order. Once I get into things, I'm actually going to save this for last. I'm going to save that for last. Let's move on to our phenyl acetaldehyde dimethyl acetyl, or PADMA, just like Star Wars. This also honeyed floral, but very green. Very green. What am I dipping this for? I am not thinking. Not thinking. 0.05 grams. It's strong. It really Perfect, perfect. I'm able to add a little of that last drop and blend it. Yeah. But yeah, it's strong, it richens it up, takes it in a more green honey direction, or adds a green honey note to it. Okay, now I can dip. Lots of dipping, and I'm already getting this rose accord in my nose. Open a window. Okay, now comes the honey note, phenylacetic acid. This stuff is a base note. Don't need much, 0.05 grams, 10%. But this will richen it up, thicken it up on the bottom, keep it floral. But, you know, when you smell rose, some of the richness that you get from rose is not just from the phenyl ethyl alcohol. Some roses, especially Rose Ottos, concentrated rose oils, some of them smell really, really honey. Old strips. The phenyl, what is it? Yeah, ethyl phenyl acetate, phenyl ethyl acetate. All right, let's get a clean strip for this dip. Remember, when I dip, you dip, we dip. We have our phenylacetic acid. Next up, phenyl ethyl acetate. Just a little bit less than our ethyl phenyl acetate. Of our phenyl ethyl acetate, we have 0.04 grams. Perfect. Can clean my pipette and blend at the same time, and we'll be good. Okay. Yeah, this stuff, light, floral, not quite as honeyed. Phenyl ethyl acetate, not quite as honeyed as ethyl phenyl acetate. Whenever I see phenyl acetate, I think honey. Whether it be ethyl phenyl acetate, benzyl phenyl acetate, phenyl acetate or phenylacetic acid, I just honey. Next, jasmine, benzyl acetate. Not benzyl phenyl acetate, benzyl acetate. 0.03 grams. Just adding an interesting floral note. Jasmine-like floral note. Okay, that was good. Don't want to add more, so I will shake that one up. And we only have a few more materials, so we're doing pretty well. Okay. When I dip, you dip, we dip. There we go. Benzyl acetate done. Now here, next, we have a very, very important material. Eugenol. Yes, that clove, warm, spice material. And you don't need much of this. 0.03 grams at 10%. So to give you a sense, it's 6 parts per 1,000 goes in your formula. 6 parts per 1,000. You don't need much, but eugenol is a magic ingredient when it comes to building a rose accord. It warms it up in such a beautiful way. And you can add a little bit and just be super delicate and nuanced, almost to where the person smelling can't really tell, or you can't really tell. Or you can overdose it a little bit. You know, you can do what you want. It's perfumery. You can do what you want. Doesn't mean everyone's going to like it. Doesn't even mean you're going to like it. But, you know, you can do what you want. Especially when you're by yourself. And a little office like this. Okay, and last, let's do this Guaiacwood. And I'm interested to smell. I'm hearing my belly rumble. I'm interested to smell what this does to the formula. 0.05 grams. I mean, it's woody, but it's transparent and it's smoky. It's got that campfire-like note to it. So I have no idea what to expect. Now, there's a very good chance that as I'm going through these smells and this evaluation, I'm going to start to go a little nose blind to some of these materials. So I'm going to do my best. But today I wanted to try to do a shorter video because the last video, that mystery fruity floral, that took a long time. You guys deserve a break. Okay, let's get this done. We started with the initial classic rose accord, 3-part citronellol, 2.5 parts geraniol, 1 part phenyl ethyl alcohol. Yeah, and this smells like a cheap rose soap. Standard, absolutely standard. I will say some rose accords lay on the phenyl ethyl alcohol as the dominant note, and the citronellol and the geraniol are underneath that. So many ways to skin a cat, as they say. Though I wonder where that saying came from. That's kind of a dark saying, isn't it? Do they have that saying in other countries for all my international viewers? Do they say that? There's many ways to skin a cat, or there's more than one way to skin a cat. Dare I ask? All right, we added the Geranyl Acetate. It's hard to detect any difference other than I would say it's a slightly bit more toned down. And by toned down, I just mean the fuzziness. When I smell citronellol, geraniol, nerol, even dihydromercenol, there's a fuzzy zing in that smell that I feel in my nose. And sometimes that zing can be toned down by ionones. Sometimes it's toned down by woody notes or jasmine. The Geranyl Acetate is helping to soften that fuzzy edge just a little bit. Now, the Citronellyl Formate I'm interested in because this is super fresh citrus rose. And yeah, this takes it in a brighter direction. Almost a soapier direction, which is interesting, but it gives it a lively kick. It's almost like we added an orange note, like sweet orange. Next up, we added the linalool. Yeah, oh, okay. It smells like we added linalool. I'm not even going to smell this more. It smells like we added linalool. The linalool is right on top. It's there. It's there. Okay. Hydroxycitronellal. Ooh, okay. Very nice. Functionally speaking, I love what these muguet-like materials do, how they just open up a fragrance, they lift it up, they give it a little brightness. They give it a little brightness. Airiness, but brightness. Not bright like limonene and lemon, like shiny, almost like a glare in your eye, bright. No, this just gives it a warm, uplifting, airy glow. That's nice. Now the next one, we added alpha terpineol. I don't know if I'm going to smell this. This is also called linalool. I can't remember who makes linalool. IFF, I think, makes linalool. But in any case, I don't know if I'm going to be able to smell this addition. Let's see. I can smell the addition. That's interesting. It's like we're going back and forth. This just kind of softens it up. The linalool lifted it with a brighter, more playful floral note. The hydroxycitronellal softened that out, but even gave it more breadth and expanse. The Terpineol Alpha calms everything down in that cloud, in that scent cloud a little bit. It's a lovely, smooth, woody floral note. Now the next up, Damascenone. I'm just expecting to smell Damascenone. Okay, the dosage is perfect because this is adding a fruity note, but it's not detracting from the rose. And given that my nose has been smelling all the alcohols, citronellal, geraniol, phenyl ethyl alcohol, linalool, alpha terpineol, you know. Yeah, oh my gosh, this is a great dosage. This just takes it and adds a little fruity nugget in the middle of our rose that's ever so slightly detectable. Now, coming up, we're adding some of the more honeyed notes, and let's see where we go. This is the ethyl phenyl acetate. Yes, and this is the first hint of honey that we have in our rose. Now, if you've smelled real rose oil, sometimes you can smell it and it's very terpenic, very acetic, like acetic acid, like almost vinegary. Sometimes it can be super honeyed, and sometimes it just depends on what stage you are in smelling. Like, is it 5 minutes went by and you're smelling the strip? Is it an hour went by or 24 hours went by? But this is the first hint that we're getting of honey in our accord, which makes sense. It's the first honey note, so, you know. Next up, PADMA. Phenyl acetaldehyde dimethyl acetyl. Now, interesting. This plays well with ethyl phenyl acetate. It doesn't increase the honey note, though it is honey. It has a honey quality itself. This adds to the greenness. And again, I'd say the dosage is great because this can overpower, PADMA can overpower a blend. Next, phenylacetic acid. Now, I had this in my office yesterday, and it filled the room. Oh, but the dosage, perfect. This is great. It's subtle, still honeyed, still adding to the complexity and breadth of that rich sweet note in the core of our rose. Phenyl ethyl acetate, a little bit fruitier version of our ethyl phenyl acetate, less honey, but let's see. I have a hard time smelling this. I actually can't. Let me do an A/B test. Yeah, I can barely smell what this does, so forgive me. Next, benzyl acetate. Ooh, I can smell that. Now this adds, again, dosage is like perfect because, first of all, I know what I'm looking for. My brain knows what I'm trying to smell. In my mind's eye, in my mind's nose, I have the smell of benzyl acetate and I'm trying to locate it in our rose accord. And I can locate it. Now, if I just had these blank strips, boy, what I would say is this is a bit more complex. It's a bit more floral, but not in a rose direction. And it plays so well with the ethyl phenyl acetate, with the PADMA, with the phenylacetic acid. Oh, that's beautiful. Now the next two I'm excited for, especially the Eugenol. I just love the way that this helps rose accords. Let's see how the dosage is and does it do its thing. Yeah. Just the perfect amount of warm, gentle spice in our rose. And last, Guaiacwood. Who'd have thought? Who'd have thought? Interesting. There is a touch of smokiness. So interesting. Just a touch of smokiness, a generic woodiness at the very bottom. If I can even really pick it up. I am picking up a breath of smokiness though. All in all, my friends, I think this is a good rose accord, and I want to do more than just one rose accord. This rose accord is from 1981. Okay? Lord knows rose accords have been around for a minute, for a long time. But this one from IFF from 1981, this is a great start. I am excited again to see how this matures. My nose is going to clear, and I want to compare this with some of the Rose Ottos that I have over here, just to see how it smells. So, my friends, whip this up. It's a simple formula, great formula. I'm not doing a giveaway with this, though. I'm going to hold on to this 5 grams here for future reference. But on that note, thanks for joining me, and I'll see you soon.